Will Oscar Pistorius ever be a free man? Why was a journalist sentenced to 175 years? Today, we're looking at 10 famous people serving major jail time in 2024. We won't see them around anytime soon, and this is why. Number 10. Gary Glitter. Gary Glitter became famous in the 70s and 80s for his glam rock performances. While his career soared for a while, everything quickly turned dark. In 1999, he was convicted for downloading explicit content of minors. Gary was sentenced to 4 months in a UK prison.
I deeply regret doing what I was sent to prison for.
After his release, the Brit left his home and traveled. Wanna know something wild? Glitter was permanently expelled from Cambodia. We don't know why, but it must have been something hectic to be kicked out of a country. Oh, by 2006, there were a whole lot of accusations under his belt, mostly to do with sexual misconduct. Then, in 2008, Glitter returned to England, where he was forced to register as a sex offender. By 2015, he was arrested for crimes against minors and served a 16-year sentence. Number 9. Joe Exotic.
The loudest mouth gets the most attention.
His Netflix show was supposed to be the start of a famous life. And while it did catapult the Tiger King to fame, it wasn't the kind he wanted. The series sparked the theory that Joe wanted to eliminate fellow big cat collector Carol Baskin. Not only that, but it documented the horrendous abuse of animals in his care. In 2018, during filming, Joe was arrested. He was accused of trying to hire 2 men to murder Carol Baskin. The main reason behind Exotic's plans was that she was the first to expose him for being an animal abuser. He was found guilty of 17 federal charges of animal abuse and 2 counts of attempted murder for hire. In the end, Exotic was sentenced to 21 years. So, basically, he'll be released from prison in 2041. Yikes! That's a long time from now. Number 8. Danny Masterson. We all know him as the too cool for school Stephen Hyde in That 70s Show.
Also, the Russians don't have a death ray, but they do have a stupid ray, and it's pointed directly at you.
But now, Danny has a new label, a convicted rapist. Shocking, right? As the story goes, Danny's misdemeanors happened over 20 years ago. And what about his sentence? 30 years to life. The most surprising thing about this case is that Danny showed little emotion during his court appearances. Some pointed out that lack of remorse sealed his guilty verdict. At the same time, others claimed the accusations were just for publicity. You see, all 3 women who accused Danny are former members of the Church of Scientology. That's why some believe the church used these women to get attention. Eventually, those accusations were dropped, and now Danny will spend the rest of his life behind bars. What do you think of this case? Share in the comments. Number 7. R. Kelly.
I'm a man. I make mistakes, but I'm not a devil.
It started in 2008 when Kelly went on trial for possession of explicit content featuring minors. After less than a full day of deliberations, the singer was dismissed on all accounts. Even though Kelly won his court case, the media damage was done. People started boycotting his brand, and it showed. By 2012, he was struggling financially. Did you know Kelly owed the IRS more than $4.8 million in taxes? By 2018, the #NewtRKelly campaign was blazing on the socials. It pushed for further investigation into his case. The same year, actress Faith Rogers filed a lawsuit against Kelly. She accused him of so many hectic things. But really, it all went downhill after the documentary Surviving R. Kelly was released. The next year, he was arrested and sentenced to 30 years. Even after his arrest, Kelly's case stayed open. By 2023, he accumulated a whole lot more charges. Kelly is scheduled for release in December 2066. He'll be almost 100 years old by then. Number 6. Tabo Besta. He would use Facebook to lure victims, promising them fake job opportunities. Besta became known as the Facebook rapist. After pleading guilty to heinous crimes, in 2012, he was sentenced to life imprisonment. Tabo was placed under maximum security in South Africa, or so he thought. 10 years later, Tabo Besta set himself on fire in his cell, but then an autopsy revealed that the body didn't belong to Tabo. For over a year, he lived life on the run. Social media users were part of the search, sharing snaps of sightings from all over South Africa. The only way Tabo could escape was with help from some very influential people, like the guys who were basically in charge of the prison. Oh, and how could we forget? A famous doctor helped him too. In the end, Tabo couldn't run forever. By mid-2023, he was arrested once again. That brings us to number 5, Dr. Nanda Magum. Once a successful public figure, Dr. Nanda made the wrong move. Back in 2006, she kindled a friendship with Tabo Besta while he was in jail for something else. By the time he got his life sentence, they were thick as thieves. Tabo and Nanda were on some really messed up Bonnie and Clyde vibes. The doctor played the most important role in Tabo's prison escape. She even stole dead bodies so he could fake his death. Wild, right? And then, after they got arrested, they sat in court and smiled at each other like nothing bad had happened. What a hectic situation, man. Up until the time this video was made, the South African court still hadn't decided what to do with her. Some reports say Nanda could face up to 40 years in prison, and she would never be granted jail because of the risk that she would help Tabo escape again. Number 4, Julian Assange. This story is straight up wild.
So let's keep it that way.
He founded WikiLeaks in 2006. As the editor, Julian published news from around the world that was kept away from mainstream media. We're talking about unsanctioned attacks on foreign countries and things like that. He won many awards for publishing and journalism. But here's where it gets tricky. The site came to international attention when it published a series of leaks from the US Army intelligence. The same year, Sweden issued a European arrest warrant for Assange. They wanted to question him in an investigation. He lost his appeal and breached his bail anyway. Assange took refuge in the Ecuadorian embassy in London. Things were eyed for a while, but in 2019, Julian made a mess with the Ecuadorian authorities. So, they withdrew their protection and invited the police to arrest him. Since April that year, Julian Assange has been locked up. The cases opened against him include espionage and conspiracy to commit computer intrusion, among other things. We still don't know how long Assange will be in prison, but some suspect a 175-year sentence. Hectic. Number 3, Oscar Pistorius. His case was one of the most highly publicized trials at the time. The world unlocked their phones to the most shocking news. Oscar Pistorius shot his model girlfriend, Riva Steenkamp. The bullet wound was fatal, and Steenkamp was already dead when we found out.
I feel that same pain. I feel that same hate for myself.
After a lengthy court process, it was decided. Pistorius was charged with culpable murder and charged with 5 years behind bars. A year into his sentence, Oscar was released on house arrest. But in 2016, he was sent back to prison again. At the time, South Africa's Supreme Court of Appeal doubled Oscar's sentence because they rejudged his case as a murder, and they didn't think he was rehabilitated enough. The thing is, up until now, Oscar has denied that he killed Riva on purpose, even though his case fits all the boxes for murder. But by 2024, the former athlete was granted freedom on parole. Now, he will be subject to severe living conditions until the end of his term in 2029. That includes things like not being allowed to speak to the media. What do you think of Oscar's case? Is he innocent or guilty? Share your thoughts below. We made it to the number 2 spots on our list. In second place, we have the infamous Elizabeth Holmes. In case you didn't know, Miss Holmes is a former tech mogul. Her company was supposed to revolutionize the media industry. They sold this machine that claimed to use only a few drops of blood and would quickly and accurately determine over 100 diseases in the body.
That's a very interesting space.
She got over $140 million from investors, only to find out that the machine was a dud. It didn't do anything it claimed to. Whoever used this machine had basically misdiagnosed their patients. Plus, the investors were furious because their millions were wasted. In the end, Holmes was sentenced to over 11 years in the slammer. Her term only started in 2023. Elizabeth's charges include 1 count of conspiracy to commit fraud on investors and 3 counts of committing fraud on individual investors. The former CEO and her business partner were also expected to pay $452 million to the investors they defrauded. In our number 1 spot, we have none other than the notorious Harvey Weinstein. He was previously known for producing films like Django Unchained and Untouchable. Now, Harvey has a very different narrative. In 2017, many women came forward with accusations of indecent sexual behavior. Here's the wildest part. The accusations span at least 30 years. Over 80 women from the film industry eventually came forward too. Through it all, Harvey denied being guilty. Then, in 2020, he was arrested and found guilty of rape in the 3rd degree and a criminal sexual act. His sentence? 23 years behind bars.
It's hard to maintain.
What's interesting is that when journalists were covering Weinstein's case, it was so hard to get victims to talk on record. They were terrified of what this big-shot Hollywood producer would do. Thankfully, the truth came to light. Drop a comment and let us know which celebrity surprised you the most with their arrest. That's it for today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See ya!